They tried to silence him. They erased his name. But he rebuilt from nothing. He fought every algorithm. They tried again and failed. Now he's back, stronger. From blackout to spotlight, he's at the White House, at the top of his game. Franchi lives.
You are about to enter another dimension. The dimension of truth, unfiltered and uncensored. Welcome to the Raw Feed with Gary Franchi.
Gratitude fills America. America fills with hope.
There's the truth America must face.
The Raw Feed starts now.
Welcome to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi, coming to you live from the heart of America. Unfiltered truth to millions on YouTube. Hit those donation links below. Every contribution powers our gear. Every contribution keeps the party going. Help me help you. Hit those donation links. YouTube channel memberships. Special acknowledgement in the fellowship. Your super chats keep me standing. Your Rumble rants fuel every round.
Say hello to super chats.
Spread the intel. Every repost extends our reach.
Super chats fuel this spectacle. Your Rumble rants give me strength.
24/7 members-only community, behind-the-scenes discussions.
Connect with fellow patriots.
My mama always said, life is like sharing the truth. Text this stream to your friends.
What if I told you the app is real? Download the Next News Network app. Android users, take the Google Play path. iPhone users, App Store awaits.
Okay, Karen, call the manager. I think we have bigger fish to fry than complaining about our memes. Because tonight, American soldiers are down on American streets, not in some distant theater, but within sight of the White House. 2 members of the West Virginia National Guard were shot just block from the president's residence. Their conditions remain uncertain as conflicting reports come in. Federal buildings locked down, Secret Service scrambled, a suspect in custody, and the call is already going out. Put him in prison for life. It's time to start making examples out of those who attack the brave women and men in our military. Good evening, America. I'm Gary Franchi. Welcome to the Raw Feed. This is the show where we cut through the noise, ignore the approved narratives, and tell you what is exactly happening in your country. Tonight we have a stacked show. Chaos in Washington, a political firestorm over military law, Thanksgiving turning into a celebration of American resilience, and an infomercial legend is now running for Congress, and a woman who knocked on her own coffin minutes before cremation. You are not going to want to miss a second of this. Now, here's something worth thinking about. On this day, November 26th, back in 1950, 300,000 Chinese soldiers launched a massive offensive against American and UN forces in North Korea. MacArthur had just promised the troops they would be home for Christmas. Well, he was wrong. The Chinese attack caught our forces completely off guard, and what Washington had called a limited action turned into a brutal, frozen nightmare. The brass was confident the enemy had other plans, and American soldiers paid the price. 75 years later, history is rhyming in very uncomfortable ways. Today, American soldiers were gunned down. National Guard members doing their job, following orders, putting themselves between the public and chaos, were shot in broad daylight. Federal buildings locked down, Secret Service scrambled, and the nation watched a crisis unfold in real time. We're going to break down what happened, what we know, and what we don't know. And then, of course, there is the Seditious Six. That is what the Trump administration is calling the 6 Democrat lawmakers, including Senator Mark Kelly, after they released a video telling troops they can refuse unlawful orders. Trump called them traitors. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered the Navy to investigate, but now military law experts are saying the case has some serious problems. Constitutional guardrails, First Amendment protections, unlawful command influence. Is this justice or political theater? We're going to walk you through this collision. Meanwhile, Thanksgiving 2025 is shaping up to be a winner. Turkey's pardon, 82 million Americans traveling, the cost of a holiday meal dropping to the lowest point in 2 years, and every corner of the internet urging gratitude, turning gratitude into a celebration. We've got the highlights and we have the good news. And speaking of good news, the ShamWow guy is running for Congress. Vince Shlomi just filed to challenge an 84-year-old Republican incumbent in Texas. The media is snickering, but outsiders have won before. Is this a joke or a warning shot? We'll tell you what conservatives are actually saying. And finally, the story that will make you question everything you think you know about death. A 65-year-old woman in Thailand was minutes away from being cremated alive when monks heard knocking from inside her coffin. They opened the lid. She was still breathing, and she's alive tonight. So how does the system fail this badly, and how many others never got the chance to knock? This is the Raw Feed. No scripts from corporate approval, no machine, just the truth delivered fast and direct. If you appreciate what we do here, tell a friend, share the stream, and stick with us because the next few hours are going to be intense. Let's get into it and welcome you to the show. We have Heather and Carla and Michael and Christy, I think it is, Real Watt, Maury Knows, Sure You in the House, Queen of Petty, Bill's Rules, Josie Bug, Mrs. Pothead, Kenny, Mary Riesling, 2 Doggies, 176K Green, KB9 Oak, 749, Dictum Factum, Doing Dung Denim, Lady Wise Wolf. I wish Gary wouldn't have such a long intro to a show. Just get to the breaking news already. Come on now. You guys just have no concept of what we need to do here and why. You see, notifications go out, if they do, and then we have a long intro because we want people to be able to get in, get settled in, because it's a long show. I sent my daredevil to pull Suryu's finger. Ooh, that's creepy. Hot Rod Mike, happy Thanksgiving. Everyone's filing in. What's up, Tyson and Richard, Kevin White, Ron the Don, Elaine Miller, James Sari, Frog762, Ribbit, Gobble Gobble, Bella Stubblefield, Smile After Death, Beagle Mom, America Has Heroes. I see you, Tyson. I see you. Michelle and Smile and Faranger. No. It's effing a Ranger. There we go. I think I got it now. What's up, UK? Midnight over there. Thanks for joining us. Tempe. Good to see y'all. All right, we got news to get to. People are like complaining already. Like, oh, get to the news. Get to the news. Don't worry, the news is going to be there. Oh, yeah, and there were some super chats I guess I need to address real quick here. James Fay dropping $10. Happy Thanksgiving, N3 Patriots. And Tom B420 just dropped a $5 bill. Thank you. We're at $15. The goal 100 tonight. We'll get there when we do. Appreciate you guys. Okay, Brian, let's get this show on the road. 2 American soldiers are fighting for their lives tonight. Not a combat zone overseas, not in some foreign battlefield. They were standing guard near the White House in Washington, D.C. in broad daylight on American soil. Someone opened a fire on 2 members of the West Virginia National Guard. Federal buildings locked down, the FBI on the scene, and the nation is in shock. So how did this happen in the most protected city on earth? Well, think about what this means. The National Guard was deployed to protect the Capitol. They were there because the government said the threat level demanded it. These were not random pedestrians. These were uniformed soldiers doing their job in the shadow of the White House, and someone shot them anyway. If armed military personnel are not safe walking the streets of Washington, D.C., who is? This is not about one incident. This is about what America has become, a country where soldiers are gunned down on domestic streets, where federal buildings go into emergency lockdown during a holiday week, where the machinery of government grinds to a halt because someone decided to pull a trigger. The shooter was shot, is in custody. The FBI is investigating, but no motive has been released. We're hearing now it could be an act of terror. There are ties to Afghanistan, apparently. The West Virginia governor, Patrick Morrisey, says there are conflicting reports about their conditions. And 2 families are praying for the worst Thanksgiving of their lives to somehow get better. Now, before we move forward, I want to take a moment to speak directly to you, the people who watch this show, who share our work and keep us going every single day. This time of year especially, as we stop and reflect on how grateful we are for this community, none of this is possible without your encouragement, your comments, your prayers, and your support. If you'd like to help us keep fighting, keep producing, and keep telling the truth, the only way media can, independent media, we deeply appreciate your support by giving with your heart at nnn.is/give. You'll find it linked below. And if you can't donate, we get it. You can still help in a huge way. Just share the link to this video with a friend or family member. Text it to someone who needs to hear the truth today. Post it in one of your Facebook groups. Those shares make a massive difference for us. We are thankful for you. We see you. We could not do this without you. So here's where the story stands right now. The FBI has confirmed they're on the scene. The shooter is now in custody, but investigators have not released any information about the suspect or motive. However, new information indicates potential terrorism ties to Afghanistan. Now, what we do know is that the 2 victims were members of the West Virginia National Guard, part of the deployment President Trump ordered to serve the Capitol. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem called for prayers. President Trump called the shooter an animal and said he will pay a very steep price. Governor Patrick Morrisey says conflicting reports about the conditions of the 2 soldiers, and conservatives are demanding action. Put them in prison for life. It is time to start making examples of those who attack the brave men and women of our military. Now we have this. Just in 7 minutes ago, FBI investigating D.C. National Guard shooting as a possible terrorism suspect identified as an Afghan national. The FBI will initially investigate today's targeted attack on 2 National Guard soldiers near the White House as a possible act of terrorism, 2 senior law enforcement officials said. The suspect has been initially identified as an Afghan national who used a handgun, and authorities are still working to confirm the details. No motive has been determined. Both West Virginia National Guardmen remain in critical condition after the gunman walked up to them while they were on patrol and immediately opened fire. Now, we have some visuals here. This appears to be the soldier, one of the soldiers. And this appears to be the image of the person who was taken into custody. Not sure why he is disrobed, but it looks like there may be a flag nearby. And disturbing imagery, no doubt. But what we understand initially here, that image was circulating, and it was first labeled false, as it was, someone believed it was an image that was from a New York shooting. But now it's circulating even wider. Elon Musk weighing in as well. He was quote tweeting not to be, and it's a point that needs to be made. The left labeled Charlie Kirk fascist, and he got shot. The left labeled the National Guard deployment fascist, and of course, what happened? Elon Musk said 23 minutes ago that falsely labeling nonviolent people as fascists or Nazis should be treated as incitement to murder. So more details coming in. The suspect in the shooting of the White House, which injured 2 National Guardmen, was initially identified as an Afghan national from outside the Washington, D.C. area. They are treating it as a potential act of terrorism. However, officials are still working to confirm the suspect's identity and background, motive not yet determined. The scope and classification of the investigation could change as more information becomes available. But over on Blue Sky, you can imagine how they love to celebrate these moments. Andy, no. Writes, Antifa and leftists on Blue Sky are celebrating the ambush shooting of the National Guard troops near the White House. They repeat the false claim being popularized by leftists that the troops are following illegal orders from the president. Some Democrats are saying this is a Trump stunt and that the blood is on the hands of the president and not the gunman. Here's some of these posts. Hot take, but if you enforce fascism and you don't refuse an unlawful order, you will deserve what's coming to you. Supporting ICE and following orders that support ICE is just as bad as supporting fascism and being a Nazi. It's simple, really. Don't enforce fascism and you won't get shot. And that is from the Haster, Destroyer of Nazis, over on Blue Sky. That's just one. Here's another one. Little C, I don't know, Lidls. No, not sorry for the soldier shot. If you as a soldier occupy your own country, you deserve it. Get effed. Don't care why or by who. You shouldn't be there doing what you are doing. So I have no empathy. That's what people are saying. It's horrible. Another one. The guardsmen are there for literal target practice. The fascist regime hopes they will draw fire and justify retaliatory measures. They are there illegally. It's not their fault, except that they are not supposed to follow illegal orders, and the judge said being there is illegal. And the list goes on and on and on. Another Trump stunt, except with real blood. I mean, these people on Blue Sky are the worst of the worst. Here's another one. The leftists justifying the murder of 2 National Guardmen, claiming there's a war declared on people based on racism and hate.
Surprised that 2 National Guard members were killed today. When you declare, I don't want anyone to act surprised that 2 National Guard members were killed today. When you declare a war on the people that's based on racism and hate, what do you think is going to happen? You think you're the only one that's armed? You think that this is just a one-sided G-side, like they're doing over there? Yeah, no. Yeah, no. I don't know the whole story. No to you. Here is the FBI Director Kash Patel at the scene.
Critical condition. 2 of our brave members of the National Guard and the Department of War were brazenly attacked in a horrendous act of violence. They were shot. They're in critical condition. As you can see behind me, we have assembled the full force of both the federal and state and local law enforcement agencies to bring bear all of our resources to make sure we find the perpetrators responsible for this heinous act. And make no mistake, they will be brought to justice. Since this is an assault on a federal law enforcement officer, this will be treated at the federal level as an assault on a federal law enforcement officer. The FBI will lead out on that mission with our interagency partners, to include the Department of Homeland Security, Secret Service, ATF, DEA, and we're thankful for the mayor's assistance in this matter, the Metropolitan Police Department and their skills in investigating homicides and gun shootings in this city is exceptional. We will work together collaboratively because this is a matter of national security, because it's a matter of pride. President Trump has been informed. We've been in contact with the White House. We will shortchange the American public with no resources to make sure we find and safeguard our nation's capital right here in Washington, D.C., and bring anyone responsible for this heinous act of violence to justice. I would lastly like to add to the American public and the world, please send your prayers to those brave warriors who are in critical condition and their families. They are here serving our country. They are here protecting everyday Americans and citizens around the world in our nation's capital. They are the heroes of this day, and we must remember them on this day and every day, and their families and the sacrifice they have made. Two of our brave.
Unbelievable. There's so much to unpack here. Here's Pete Hegseth confirming that Trump will be sending an additional 500 National Guard to D.C. after the tragedy.
Away from the White House. We will never back down. We will secure our capital. We will secure our cities. In fact, this happened just steps away from the White House. It will not stand. And that's why President Trump has asked me, and I will ask the Secretary of the Army, to the National Guard, to add 500 additional troops, National Guardsmen, to Washington, D.C. This will only stiffen our resolve to ensure that we make Washington, D.C. safe and beautiful. The drop in crime has been historic. The increase in safety and security has been historic. But if criminals want to conduct things like this, violence against America's best, we will never back down. President Trump will never back down. That's why we will never.
They're amping up security there. Oh, and 3 hours ago, Benny Johnson writes, recently CNN compared National Guard troops to Nazis. Creating military units to watch the people reminds me of Germany in the 30s. 2 troops were just shot at the White House. This is the direct result of the left's dangerous rhetoric.
In Germany in the 1930s. Actually, what the president is doing through the Secretary of Defense is creating units, official military units, to, quite frankly, watch the American people. And that's the thing that is absolutely abhorrent. It reminds me so much of what happened in Germany in the 1930s.
Of course. Those guard troops are certainly not Nazis. Those are Americans. 3 hours ago, Governor Patrick Morrisey, receiving conflicting reports about the condition of the 2 guard members, will provide additional updates once we receive more complete information. Last I checked his account, there is nothing new. Actually, okay, so we do not know yet exactly what has happened. That's the last post from the governor of West Virginia. Over on MSNBC, you can't hate the left-wing media enough. MSNBC already defending the gunman who killed U.S. troops on American soil. Shen Horn writes, I don't see how journalists can just openly endorse and stoke murderous violence over the airwaves and not be charged criminally with incitement or accessory to murder. Charge them with something. These people are terrorists. Listen to what they're saying on MSNBC.
But of course, there's so much controversy happening in the United States right now with ICE, who are also wearing uniforms and wearing masks. And so you don't know people walking around with uniforms in an American city. There are some Americans that might object to that. And so apparently this shooting has happened.
Yeah, because they're just walking around with uniforms on. Yeah, there's controversy happening in the United States. Okay, sure. You can't hate the left-wing media enough. That was MS Now's Ken Delanian, just after 3 p.m. Eastern on the shooting of the 2 National Guard. There's so much controversy. People are walking around with the uniforms on. Here's newly released video in the aftermath of the shooting. It's hard to make out exactly what's going on there, but clearly a frantic scene. Looks like near a bus stop, glass shattered. First responders reacting immediately to their fallen comrades, and it is absolutely horrific. There's a lot of video here. We do know this, that the suspect is in custody after multiple people, including the National Guardmen, were shot. Gunter Eagleman says, put him in prison for life. Starts making examples of those who attack brave men and women of our military. Let's check in with this.
Learning from our Andrew McCabe, a former FBI deputy director.
Andrew McCabe, of course, on CNN. The revolving door of the intelligence agency and law enforcement in D.C. going over to CNN. You know, he was part of the whole Russia collusion thing, too. He gets a nice paycheck from CNN now. Anyway.
Andy, we are just learning from our producer that the scene has been secured. This is 17th and I, 1 block from the White House. There is a suspect currently in custody. Obviously, we have very limited details, just that several people were hurt. At least one member of the U.S. National Guard has been shot. Can you give us a sense of how an investigation like this begins, essentially? We have a suspect in custody, but now is when some of the real work begins.
Yeah, absolutely. So, especially if we go back maybe...
Yeah, go back to when you were committing treason. Yeah, so let's keep going because we got to connect some dots here that are very important to connect. Here's another scene. This is when the earliest reports came out. The governor had reported that the members of the West Virginia National Guard were shot, had passed away.
Contact with federal. It is with great sorrow that we can confirm both members of the West Virginia National Guard who were shot earlier today in Washington, D.C. have passed away from their injuries.
Now, of course, that information has been retracted. OSINT Defender departing flights were briefly halted earlier at Reagan National by the FAA to allow med-flight helicopters to pick up the victims of the shooting near the White House. FBI Director Kash Patel, as you saw on the scene. And we have more video. National Guard shot. This is Mari Otsu, who was in an Uber on the way to work with a cameraman, heard multiple shots fired as we pass Farragut West. Unreal. A lot of police and Secret Service activity around the White House. Sidewalks completely blocked off to foot traffic and cars. Emergency trucks pulled up outside the White House. Multiple entrances to the house have been White House blocked off. It's a routine update from Secret Service. It's a routine closure to investigate a suspicious item. Actually, that was on August. Sorry, that should not be here. That was from August of last year. Another security incident. The U.S. Treasury building on lockdown in Washington, alongside several other nearby government buildings following the shooting minutes ago at the White House. Huge amount of federal resources being deployed. Headlines everywhere. 2 National Guard soldiers have been shot. I'm trying to find the clip here that I had selected for you. I think it's here. Hope it's here. Let's see. Okay, so here's another shot. Infuriating image release of a brave National Guardsman shot in the head outside the White House. Unbelievable. Image is blurred out. EMT working on him. Left will still find a way to demonize the troops. 2 National Guard. We have something here from Real America's Voice. I'm trying to find... Okay, here's Kristi Noem calling for prayer. Certainly do that for all of the armed services and family that we know who are protecting this nation. There was a clip that it was Elise Slotkin, and something she had said on television regarding the National Guard. Just another example of them demonizing our U.S. military. Yeah, I thought it was here. Let me see if I can just track it down real quick because it's just not loading at the moment, and I want to make sure you guys see this. I may have put it in the wrong folder, but let's see. Okay, here it is. Yes. Okay, so I had I put it in the wrong folder, so I apologize for that, guys. So I'm going to put it in the correct folder now for you, so you can see the clip of her, Elise Slotkin, and let's see here. Where is it now? Okay, my apologies for this. Here's Senator Elise Slotkin. Went on TV just last Sunday and claimed that National Guardsmen were going to start shooting at American civilians. And now 2 guardsmen have been shot.
People in uniform military. Look at these videos coming out of places like Chicago. It makes me incredibly nervous that we're about to see people in law enforcement, people in uniform military get nervous, get stressed, shoot at American civilians. It is a very, very stressful situation for these law enforcement and for the communities on the ground. So it was basically a warning to say, like, if you're asked to do something, particularly against American citizens, look at these videos coming out of places like Chicago. It makes.
And I did have President Trump's reaction as well. For some reason, these aren't loading. I thought it was here. Yeah. My apologies for not having everything organized for you. But this is all happening so quickly, and when the news was breaking, it was just overwhelming. And I'm just trying to find that Trump post that we had. Okay, so I'm gonna check another location here because I know that it was posted. I swear that it was there. So bear with me. Okay. Oh yeah, there's so much commentary here. President Trump. Okay, here is Vance. I'm not sure why these are not there. Okay, here it is. How did it disappear? Unbelievable. Okay, found it. Sorry, my apologies. Refresh the page. Here it is. This is President Trump's reaction. The animal that shot the 2 National Guardsmen with both being critically wounded and now in 2 separate hospitals is also severely wounded, but regardless, will pay us a very steep price. God bless our great National Guard and all of our military and law enforcement. These are truly great people. I, as President of the United States, and everyone associated with the office, am with you. Vice President Vance, this is just as the news was breaking.
I don't know the motive. Apparently there was a shooting outside the White House just a couple of hours ago. And we're still learning everything. We still don't know the motive. There's a lot that we haven't yet figured out. But what we do know is that a couple of National Guardsmen were injured in the line of duty. And first of all, I want everybody who's a person of faith to say a prayer for those 2 National Guardsmen, that they're able to spend Thanksgiving with their families instead of losing their lives, because I understand they're still in pretty tough condition. But I think it's a somber reminder that soldiers, whether they're active duty, reserve, or National Guard, our soldiers are the sword and the shield of the United States of America. And as a person who goes into work every single day in that building and knows that there are a lot of people who wear the uniform of the United States Army, let me just say very personally, thank them for what they're doing. We're grateful to them, and we're praying that they're going to be safe and they're going to spend Thanksgiving with their families. God bless them.
God bless them and keep them and be with their families. Rapid response laying into Jane Meyer. This is staff writer at The New Yorker, author of Dark Money, Jane Meyer. That's her name. And we have this. Okay, so Jane Meyer is quote tweeting Caitlin Collins. Caitlin Collins from CNN reporting initially on the shooting. Jane Meyer quote tweets her, says, "This is so tragic, so unnecessary. These poor guardsmen should never have been deployed. I live in D.C. and watched as they had virtually nothing to do but pick up trash. It was for political show, and at what a cost." Well, Rapid Response was having none of it. That's the official media channel for the 47th President of the United States. They write, "You sick and disgusting ghoul," referring to Jane Meyer. "Two of these heroes were just shot in broad daylight. The Guard has saved countless lives, backed up by evidence which you are clearly too stupid to notice. They are American patriots." But of course, Jane wants to just reduce them to trash detail. And on Blue Sky, they're celebrating. Expect nothing less. But here's what nobody wants to say out loud. 2 American soldiers were gunned down in the heart of the American capital. Not in Baghdad. Not in Kabul. In Washington, D.C. The same streets tourists walk every day. The same blocks where lawmakers go to lunch. 2 soldiers in uniform were shot. The entire federal government locked its doors. This is not a headline from a war zone. This is America the day before Thanksgiving in 2025. And of course, the left's violent rhetoric has caused all of this. Now, this story matters because it proves something that we have all been sensing for years. The violence is not staying overseas anymore. It's here. It's on our streets. And it's targeting the very people we send to protect us. 2 West Virginia National Guard members were shot near the White House. Let that sink in. These men and women signed up to serve our country. They put on the uniform. They stood their post, and someone tried to kill them for it. Suspect is in custody. Good. Now make an example of him. Prison for life. No plea deals. No excuses. It is time we start showing what happens when you attack the brave men and women of our military. And Governor Morrisey says the conditions are uncertain, so we are all praying for a miracle. Please pray for these soldiers and their families. Now, the question I want you to answer in the comments is, should attackers of military personnel receive mandatory life sentences? Yes or no? Comment below. You hit up the Next News Merc Shop. You'll find it linked below in the description. Okay, lots of super chats come through right here. I'm going to get those right now. And then we're going to hit our next topic, Brian. We got to talk about the Seditious Six. So that's another big story. James Fay, $10. We got that. Tom B4, $25. Irving's back with a $25 bill. What's up, Irving? Thank you so much for that. Sup, G? That's what he writes. And then X Krisky X3. Keep up the good work, Gary. Enjoy Thanksgiving, Patriots. Thank you. That's $5 there. And then Anita posting, thanks for all you do, keeping us informed, Gary and team. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Smash that like button. Well, as you could imagine, we will not be broadcasting tomorrow, and we will not be broadcasting on Friday. So we'll be back on Monday, of course. So just keep that in mind. We're going to spend some good quality family time, and I hope that you will too. All right, Brian, let's roll it. Next topic. The Seditious Six saga just escalated. You remember the video. 6 Democrats told troops they can refuse illegal orders. Trump called it sedition. Now the FBI is moving to interview all 6 lawmakers, and the Pentagon's given the Navy until December 10th to deliver findings on Senator Mark Kelly. Kelly firing back, posting his military medals and saying he will not be silenced. But behind the headlines, legal experts are warning this entire case could collapse. I'm going to tell you what just happened. You see, this week, the pressure campaign went into overdrive. The Pentagon formally launched a review into Kelly, warning he could be recalled to active duty for a court-martial. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth set the hard deadline of December 10th. The Navy must report its findings by then. Meanwhile, the FBI reached out through the Capitol Police to schedule interviews with all 6 lawmakers, but Democrats are not playing along, of course. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries told CNN flat out the 6 should refuse to cooperate. Senator Ruben Gallego went further, warning military personnel involved in the investigation that there will be consequences. And Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski broke ranks, calling the investigation frivolous. saying the Pentagon has more important priorities. However, the battle lines are drawn, and this is moving very fast. And speaking of protecting what matters, we have some breaking news. While everybody was watching the headlines, the Trump administration quietly released a document that could reshape the mining sector under Executive Order 14241. Now, this is about national security. The White House just named the Palmer Project in Alaska as a key asset for mineral independence. Now, Vizsla Copper acquired that project, and we're talking about an estimated $3.5 billion in ground value containing copper and zinc and silver that's vital for our military and our energy grid. Now, Vizsla trades under the ticker VCUFF in the United States and VCU.V in Canada. When other Alaskan miners got government backing, shares shot up over 200%, and the market has not yet priced that in. So check the link in the description for more information, and a big thanks to Vizsla Copper for making today's video possible. Now, we go back to the back and forth. Kelly responded to the investigation, posting a photo of his uniform with all of his medals and ribbons displayed. He wrote that he swore an oath at 22 years old and has upheld it through combat missions, test pilot school, 4 space shuttle flights, and every day since. He says he will not be silenced by bullies. Of course, Hegseth firing back. He mocked Kelly's display, claiming the medals were out of order and his rows were reversed. He wrote that when Kelly is recalled to active duty, it will start with the uniform inspection. The personal shots are flying. Legal experts warn that Trump's own public statements about death penalties could become evidence of an unlawful command influence. And while the Seditious Six drama heats up, Trump scored a massive legal victory. Georgia prosecutors filed to drop the 2020 Fulton County election interference case against the president and his allies. Pete Hegseth, executive director for the Prosecuting Attorney Council of Georgia, wrote that pursuing the case for another 5 to 10 years did not serve the citizens of Georgia. Judge Scott McAfee granted the dismissal. The case is dismissed in its entirety. President Trump posting the news from his White House account. Law and justice have prevailed in the great state of Georgia. The corrupt Fani Willis witch hunt is officially over. This was the last criminal case against Trump. One case collapses while another begins. Of course, the momentum is shifting. Now, we're finding this curious, very curious piece of news that has just crossed my desk. It's published 10 hours ago. That it's now been revealed that the nonprofit linked to George Soros is fomenting sedition within the military around the same time the script went out to Democrat members of Congress urging rebellion within the ranks against President Trump. Now, of course, we've all seen this video. I'm only going to bring it up so you can see what's on this billboard and what it says.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly. Representative.
Now, if you look closely, you can see there, did you go airborne just to pull security for ICE? And then it looks like there is a URL underneath, and I think it says notwhatisignedupfor.org. The National Lawyers Guild Military Task Force, DOD Instruction 1325.06 permits a service member to possess a single copy of this document. So this is clearly what is now being tied to George Soros by Eric Doherty here on X. So this organization appears to be putting out the talking points to members of Congress while putting up billboards almost echoing the same message. It's a coordinated campaign, clearly. On the Georgia case, just touching on that briefly, here is the breaking news. And of course, CNN just has to flash that mugshot again. Well, don't worry, I have my own version of the mugshot. CNN likes to use it for smearing Trump, but we use it as a badge of honor because this man has dodged bullets, legal cases, and everything just so that we can have America back. Now, here's the CNN case.
That means that
This is CNN Breaking News.
We are following breaking news just into CNN. A Georgia prosecutor officially dropped the historic racketeering case against President Trump and others for attempting to overturn the 2020 presidential election. I want to go right to CNN's Kara Scannell. What are you learning, Kara?
Good morning, Pam. Yeah, this new filing in from the prosecutor who had taken the place to look into the Fulton County investigation of Donald Trump and others has filed a motion with the court saying that they are not going to move forward with the case. They're dropping the charges. What he filed what's known as a nolle pros, and that means that in theory, because if the statute of limitations hasn't run out, a case could be refiled. But he attached to his filing about a 20-page statement explaining his rationales for why he did not think that they should move forward with this case. You'll remember this was the case that began with Donald Trump making the call to the Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, urging him to find the votes. And then District Attorney Fani Willis brought this historic investigation and filed those racketeering charges against Donald Trump and dozens of others for interfering with the 2020 election. She was then disqualified from the case because of an undisclosed romantic relationship with another prosecutor. And that is how this case now fell into the hands earlier this month of a prosecutor who was assigned the job of trying to find someone to take on this case. He said that he couldn't because there were too many conflicts, and he took it on himself.
Too many conflicts, and it's thrown out. President Trump wins again. Here's what it posted. The White House official. Breaking news, law and justice have prevailed in the great state of Georgia as the corrupt Fani Willis witch hunt against me and the other great American patriots has been dismissed in its entirety. President Donald J. Trump with this long Truth Social post. I guess I can read some. It's a lot to read here. But of course, President Trump loves the color when he presents his Truth Social post. So I'm sure this is going to be a good one. Breaking news, law and justice have prevailed in the great state of Georgia as the corrupt Fani Willis witch hunt against me and other great American patriots has been dismissed in its entirety. This illegal, unconstitutional, and un-American hoax was perpetrated against our nation by Fani and her low IQ lover, Nathan Wade, at the direction of crooked Joe Biden and his handlers. This case should never have been brought in the first place. The radical and unethical district attorney illegally hired her boyfriend to prosecute the former president of the United States of America in a charade, even though he never prosecuted such a case before, was completely inexperienced in RICO, and blatantly lied about everything, including their beautiful love affair. The ridiculously high amounts of money she paid him, unlawfully taking it from the honest taxpayers of Georgia, their record-setting numbers of Caribbean cruises, vacations, and getaways, her clear campaign finance violations, and most importantly, their obsession with doing anything that and everything to get Trump, just as the Biden White House told them to do. The deranged Democrats did all they could to viciously attack me, my supporters, and our MAGA movement for telling the truth. The 2020 election was rigged and stolen, and they committed crime after crime as they weaponized our law enforcement and justice system against honest and loving Americans. But we have fought back and won, both in the courts and politically, with our historic country-saving landslide victory of November 5th, 2024. We have to hold responsible those who attempted to destroy our legal system and nation itself as they tried to use it to silence and imprison political opponents for protecting our country and exercising our First Amendment rights. The few remaining Democrat witch hunts will soon meet the same embarrassing end. We're going to keep winning and continue to make America great again. America, baby. America. And this breaking from the Alex Jones X account. Breaking bombshell development, White House officially warns rogue elements of the CIA are attempting to trigger a military uprising coup to illegally remove Trump from office and overthrow the American Republic. Stephen Miller raising the alarm.
Background. Record a careful. They should be held accountable under the law and under the Uniform Code of Military Justice for a seditious conspiracy against the United States of America. This is completely open and shut, straightforward. What is the motivation? Why would 6 members of Congress, selecting specifically for individuals with a CIA or military background, record a carefully written, carefully produced, slickly edited video messaging directly to members of our clandestine services and our armed forces, telling them to disobey orders from their superiors, telling them that they should individually determine whether an order is legal or illegal and defy it. Individuals who are exercising life and death power. The CIA engages in covert missions all over the world involving life and death decisions. The armed forces launches life, taking missions. Time and time again, they carry weapons. They control drones. They control missiles. They work on nuclear submarines. For what purpose would you ever deliver this message? As you said, it's to create a color revolution. It is the CIA playbook for trying to foment insurrection from within the military and within the CIA.
So it's not just this statement.
Alex Jones weighing in there. Stephen Miller, though, just knocking it out of the park as usual. 8 hours ago, Trump case against Senator Mark Kelly faces steep hurdles under military law. That's according to Reuters. Of course, Reuters is going to be posting stuff like that. CSN Bulletin. Trump's legal attempts to prosecute Senator Mark Kelly face major hurdles. The Trump administration effort to pursue Kelly under military law for publicly advising U.S. troops to refuse unlawful orders is encountering significant legal obstacles. Experts say the case is unlikely to proceed due to constitutional protections, military law safeguards, and free speech considerations. Military justice requires multiple layers of review before a court-martial can proceed, including investigations, legal assessments, and judge oversight, making prosecution complex and slow. Kelly's remarks reflected long-standing principles that soldiers should refuse legal orders, which experts argue do not constitute criminal conduct under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Constitutional clauses, including speech or debate protections for lawmakers and First Amendment considerations, add additional barriers to any potential prosecution. Analysts warn that any attempt could also be challenged for unlawful command influence given public pressure and political context. While the Trump administration pushes forward the military legal system and constitutional protections make it highly unlikely that charges against Kelly will hold, raising broader questions about the intersection of politics, military law, and free speech. And apparently there are actually veterans who are in support of Mark Kelly saying F you to Pete Hegseth. If you support the Seditious Six, I don't care if you're a current former military or not, you're a traitor to this country. You can't change my mind, says American Papa Bear. I don't even know if I want to play these, but, well. Military supports you.
Pete Hegseth, as veterans, we just want to say that we support Mark Kelly. Hey, Pete Hegseth, fuck you and fuck your investigation.
Wow. Okay, that's about all I'm going to play of that clip. I don't know where it's going from there, but it doesn't seem to be going to any place good. And then we have this. Their goal, to instigate an investigation so they can cry, look, now it's true. FAFO, for those who've never researched CIA orchestrated and backed coups around the globe, you should start looking into how these things get kicked off. George Soros, because this is an attempt at a color revolution. George Soros. Colonel Towner and Alpha Warrior X have done a good job documenting several. They write that we've been overwhelmingly resistant to these efforts in our homeland through the use of NGOs funding widespread protests and subsequent riots. And as President Trump cuts the head off their private sector funding apparatus, USAID, NED, they're becoming desperate. So they politicized the military, subverted the constitutional authority of the commander-in-chief, and injected themselves into the chain of command that they're not a part of. Desperate attempt to execute their plan. This is life or death for the deep state. And here is Elise Slotkin.
Exactly why we... And then last night, the Counterterrorism Division at the FBI sent a note to the members of Congress saying they are opening what appears to be an inquiry against the six of us. To be honest, the president's reaction and the use of the FBI against us is exactly why we made the video. He believes in using the federal government against his perceived adversaries, and he's not afraid to use the arms of the government against people he disagrees with. He does not believe the law applies to him. He has said that every which way to Sunday, which is exactly why we made the video, to give people some assurance that they weren't alone as they watch this stuff unfold. This is a scare tactic by him. He is attempting to use the FBI to scare us out of continuing to talk and have conferences like this.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. You're the victim now. That's how it always plays out, right? We got some more from Stephen Miller, torching the Democrats who told the military and intel community to defy the commander-in-chief. Call it what it is. Sedition.
It is insurrection, plainly, directly, without question. And when you have one of the lawmakers on that video being unable to state in, as you say, lengthy cross-examination, a single so-called illegal order, it just proves the point. It's a general call for rebellion from the CIA and the armed services of the United States by Democrat lawmakers, saying that you have not only the right but the duty and the obligation to defy orders of the commander-in-chief, that those who carry weapons in America's name should defy their chain of command and engage in open acts of insurrection, that the CIA, the clandestine service, which isn't even legally authorized to operate in the United States, should engage in, again, acts of rebellion and insurrection. These lawmakers should honestly resign in disgrace and never return to public office again for even daring to think, let alone to say these words and to say them proudly. But it shows what a dangerous moment we're in. We have seen the Democratic Party nurse the flames of violence and insurrection against the federal government for the last 10 months. When you see this continuous campaign of violence against ICE officers and Border Patrol agents, when you see Democrat sanctuary politicians and Democrat sanctuary governors side with the rioters, side with the assaulters over federal law enforcement, and that spills even into juries and grand juries, when you see Democrat jurors engage in nullification to let off violent attackers who are engaging in physical violence, physical assault against federal officers. This is a dangerous moment. You have a political party, an organization, the Democrat Party, and their message is that any action, no matter how unlawful, no matter how dangerous, no matter how much it threatens constitutional order, is justified if it keeps Democrat policies in effect at any cost.
Dude, I need to make a T-shirt that says Stephen Miller is my homeboy. That's what I need. Wear that around. The guy just hits it out of the park every day. And of course, I mean, think about what just happened today. We have 2 National Guardsmen now gunned down outside the White House in a brazen daylight attack. Okay? I mean, the dots have not all been fully connected, but in my gut says this is the result of the violent rhetoric demonizing our law enforcement and our National Guard and the administration. Just as Stephen Miller said. So over there on CNN, Scott Jennings weighing in about the FBI wanting to interview the Democrat lawmakers.
Not supposed to. The FBI is now seeking interviews with the Democratic lawmakers who said to the military, if there is an illegal order, don't follow it. Aren't folks in the military not supposed to follow illegal orders?
So this is an issue where obviously you're going to have 2 groups of people that see this completely differently. I mean, when I saw that video, I was outraged for the president because it's obvious what the Democrats were trying to do. They were trying to create a narrative that the president had, in fact, given illegal orders. Nobody's yet named an illegal order. All the people in the video went on TV and got asked, what are the illegal orders? None of them can name an illegal order. Alessa Slotkin, who's supposed to be the moderate and the smart person in that group, said, well, you know, we have this movie, A Few Good Men. I mean, it was so unserious, but the point was clear. They're trying to program their political party, half the country, into believing that the president has given an illegal order, which has not happened. And so he's outraged. Every Republican that I know is outraged. The legalities of this, the investigatory part of this, I'm less sure about. But I'll tell you this, it's not good to treat the military like pawns. These Democrats shut down the government 43 days and didn't pay them. And now they're out here using them in this illegal order video, which is obviously political. I think some people, you know, in our coalition are thinking they keep treating the military like pawns. It's very disrespectful to treat the military this way.
The FBI.
They don't care about the military. You heard them. They shut the government down. Didn't even let them get paid for weeks. Democrat pollster Frank Luntz going nuclear on the Democrats.
Of course, my first reaction was, why the hell did you put this video out? I know you're trying to poke at him. Of course you don't obey an illegal order. Of course there are standards and processes that our military has followed, not just for decades, but for centuries. That's a given. You're doing this just to create a political issue. And shame on you, because there are men and women who are serving in Japan, in Korea, all over the globe, in the Middle East, in other Asian countries. And this is Thanksgiving. And they're not home. And they're sacrificing for this country. And you're playing politics at this point? My first reaction was, why the hell did you put...
Yeah, why? We all know why. Stephen Miller says the Seditious Six should be held accountable under the law and under the Uniform Code of Military Justice for seditious conspiracy against the United States of America. Hakeem Jeffries says the Democrats who made the insurrectionist video should refuse to cooperate with the Pentagon's investigation into their conduct. Oh, yeah. Here's Jeffries.
Basis to this.
As the Democratic leader, do you believe your members should sit for interviews with the FBI?
There's no basis to this FBI investigation unless the FBI actually presents credible evidence as to why they are seeking to interview these 4 members of the House and 2 members of the Senate. Then I think we have to look at this whole request skeptically again. It was Donald Trump who ordered the FBI and the Department of Justice to investigate these members. He accused them of treason. He threatened them with death. And so it's not clear why we should take this investigation credibly. This is not something where the FBI is trying to follow the facts, apply the law, and be guided by the Constitution.
I do think it's important to point out, we have been told that the Pentagon is looking into an investigation. And what we know about the FBI, according to our reporting, is that they are seeking to schedule interviews. So are you saying, though, I just want to put a pin in this as well, are you saying that they should not sit for those interviews?
No, that's a determination that ultimately will be made by these patriotic members, all of whom serve the country, either as national security professionals in the military or both.
As the Democratic.
So here's what it comes down to. The administration has until December 10th to show its hand on the Seditious Six. Kelly says he's not backing down. Democrats are telling the FBI no. Constitutional lawyers say the case runs headfirst into the First Amendment, and meanwhile, Trump's legal enemies are folding. Georgia is gone. The witch hunts are crumbling. Is this accountability or intimidation? Well, December will certainly tell us everything. Now, the story matters because the legal battlefield is shifting fast. On one side, the administration is pursuing the Seditious Six with Pentagon investigations and FBI interviews. On the other side, the cases against Trump are collapsing. Georgia just dropped the Fani Willis election interference case entirely, and they admitted pursuing it for another decade doesn't serve the people. Judge McAfee admitted it and dismissed it dismissed it in its entirety. That's a complete surrender. Meanwhile, Kelly says he will not be silenced. Hegseth says his conduct brings discredit to the armed forces, and December 10th is the date for which the Navy findings will be disclosed. And legal experts warn the Seditious Six case could blow up if unlawful command influence is proven. Now, the walls are closing in, but on whom depends on which side you're watching. The question I want you to answer in the comments is this, though. Is the Georgia dismissal proof the witch hunts are finally over? Yes or no? And hit up the Next News merch shop. You'll find it linked in the description. Okay, no more super chats to speak of. We're moving right along. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. And we're going to make Thanksgiving great again. Okay. We got some news here. All right, let's get into it, Brian. Thanksgiving 2025 is here, and the president already pardoned 2 turkeys at the White House and jetted off to Mar-a-Lago with the First Lady. A record 82 million Americans hit the road, and here is the headline Democrats don't want you to see. The cost of feeding 10 people a Thanksgiving meal just dropped to its lowest point since 2023. That's why prices are coming down, and families are traveling, and America's celebrating. So it's time for your holiday victory lap. So let's talk about what this means, though. For years, we were told inflation was here to stay. An American dream of a big family Thanksgiving slipping away, but the numbers don't lie. The average cost to feed people, 10 people, has dropped. That means more money in your pocket, more food on your table, and proof that the policies are working. By the way, don't believe the doom and gloom headlines about some mass economic blackout. Real Americans are out spending, traveling, and thriving. Meanwhile, President Trump kept tradition alive, pardoning 2 turkeys at a ceremony that reminded everybody what normal looks like. He and Melania departed for Florida, earning a well-deserved break. 82 million Americans traveling, 52,000 flights in a single day. That's not a nation in decline. That's a nation on the move. And this Thanksgiving, we've got a lot to be grateful for. Prices are dropping and families are gathering. And despite the so-called mass economic blackout headlines, Americans are thriving. Speaking of taking care of family, let me tell you about the perfect holiday gift. The C60 Evo holiday gift sets are 40% off when you grab 6 bundles. Now, each bundle includes their advanced facial serum. It's like youth in a bottle, plus their breakthrough C60 Evo olive oil. I love it. Now, that oil helps with energy, mental clarity, faster recovery, and supports your body against inflammation and oxidative stress. People even give some of their pets for mobility support. So keep a couple sets for yourself and gift out the rest. The link's down below, c60evo.com/NNN for 40% off, only at my link below. And, of course, we got some more good news from the Trump world. President Trump, in a post, confirmed that Kash Patel's doing a great job, and he's not going anywhere despite the rumors. Appeals cases are being filed in the cases involving Letitia James and James Comey. Stephen Miller said he's thankful for President Trump being back in the White House in a country that finally puts American citizens first. That's the message this Thanksgiving. America's back, baby. The economy's improving. The administration's fighting, and millions of families are going to sit down to a meal that costs less than it did last year. Democrats can spin all they want, but the receipts don't lie. Listen.
Cheating and Iran. Thanksgiving dinner. Got some good news, America. A little bit of good news, all right? Average cost for 10 people. Average cost now for 10 people. 2 years ago was $61. This year it's down to $55 per person now, not for all 10 people, but for all the folks that you're having over here. Prices right now, turkey said to be lower, and that's really helping out right now. 16-pound turkey is said to be $21.50, all right? Got a little pumpkin pie mix, $4.16. Sandra, how much is a gallon of whole milk?
Okay.
How much is a gallon of whole milk?
I'm going to say 4 because I'm cheating and I rounded up from what you saw.
I dig it. It's like a presidential test, right? $3.73. Boom, it can be yours. Come on down here. I love cranberries, whole berry cranberries, one of my favorites right now, $2.28. Thanksgiving dinner. Got some good news, America.
How about that? How about that? And, of course, President Trump. This is just funny. We played this the other day, but it's classic Trump. It's hilarious.
Before going any further, I want to make an important announcement because you remember last year, after a thorough and very rigorous investigation by Pam Bondi and all of the people at Department of Justice, the FBI, the CIA, the White House Counsel's Office, and the Department of Everything. We have a Department of Everything. You know what that is? I think that's called the White House. Into a terrible situation caused by a man named Sleepy Joe Biden. He used an auto pen last year for the turkey's pardon. So I have the official duty to determine, and I have determined that last year's turkey pardons are totally invalid. As are the pardons of about every other person that was pardoned other than, where's Hunter? No, Hunter's was good. That was the one pardon, Pam, that was good, right? The rest of them are all invalid. I don't know what the hell you're going to do about that, but now we're going to take a little of the joking. That is a mess. But they're hereby null and void. The turkeys known as Peach and Blossom last year have been located, and they were on their way to be processed, in other words, to be killed. But I have stopped that journey, and I am officially pardoning them, and they will not be served for Thanksgiving dinner. We saved them in the nick of time. This one has plenty of time, but they were saved in the nick of time. Before
Pardon signed by the auto pen. Make Thanksgiving great again. That's what's happening. And Speaker Mike Johnson, in a video posted by the Department of Homeland Security this Thanksgiving, we're grateful to the dedicated men and women of ICE who are working through the holiday to keep our communities safe.
Just a moment.
Hi, this is Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. We just want to take a moment on Thanksgiving and thank the men and women of ICE for doing the important work of keeping America safe and secure.
And with Thanksgiving right around the corner, I wanted to take just a moment and give my heartfelt thanks to the great men and women of ICE.
Just saying thank you to the great ICE agents of this nation.
This Thanksgiving, I thank you for your service and for deporting the illegal invaders who have flooded our communities.
I'm grateful for your dedication to secure our borders, our ports of entry, and our interior against dangerous criminals and illicit drugs.
As chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee on Counterterrorism and Intelligence, I am committed to helping advance your mission in Congress and am extremely thankful for your service.
To the brave men and women of ICE, thank you.
I'd like to say thank you to the men and women of ICE.
I want to thank the men and women of ICE.
They're working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Whose vigilance keeps our nation secure.
They put themselves at risk and spend time away from their family.
And your hard work does not go unnoticed.
I'm so sorry you have to do your job in such adversity, but we need you to do it.
There are no days off when it comes to public safety.
You continue to show up strong.
Every day, you risk your lives to remove dangerous, illegal aliens and keep our communities safe.
I appreciate you and your family's unwavering support to the safety and prosperity of our great country.
Thank you for risking your lives every single day to protect our communities.
Because of you, our country is safer this holiday season.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for getting rid of dangerous criminals.
Thank you for making America safe again.
Thank you for enforcing our laws on immigration and for dealing with such a challenging time.
Thanks for all that you do.
We are thankful for you.
Thanks again.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all you do.
Quite a different video than the one that was put out by the Seditious Six, right? Those folks are thankful. The other ones are telling them to disobey orders. And just like that, President Trump says Kash Patel's doing a great job. He ain't going anywhere.
Are you planning to replace Kash Patel as
No, he's doing a good job.
This week,
Kash Patel? No, he's doing a great job, I think.
this week we saw those cases against James Comey and Letitia James tossed out. Do you still have faith in Lindsay Halligan?
Oh, she's great. I think she's great. They got out on a technicality, and you'll see what happens from here on. But if you look at the actual charges, I think anybody that looks at it very fairly would say, boy, are they guilty. So let's see what happens over the next week. You know, the court didn't say you couldn't bring the case, re-bring the case, or appeal the case. So they have a lot of options. They're going to call the shot. I'm not calling the shot. But Lindsay's a very talented lawyer, actually.
Oh, yes, the case against Comey and Tish James is far from over. The time-honored American tradition, pardoning America's luckiest birds. That was 24 hours ago. These turkeys have officially been saved from the Thanksgiving table.
I will grant a full, absolute, and unconditional presidential pardon to two handsome Thanksgiving turkeys. And this
President Trump and the First Lady departing the White House for Mar-a-Lago in Florida. That was 24 hours ago. Clearly are down there now. And we have this from Cara Castronova, one of our colleagues at the White House. 13 more presidential pardons needed, says Lindell TV. President Trump pardoned two turkeys for Thanksgiving, but there's a group of 13 Americans we'd be truly thankful for to be pardoned next. 12 Proud Boys and Oath Keepers who only received commutations, not full pardons. Let's see what she's talking about here.
Pardon. President Trump pardoned two turkeys, but who else should the president pardon? We the people say, not her, not him, but them. There are still innocent prisoners of the vindictive Biden regime who would be grateful for an unconditional pardon. President Trump has pardoned almost all of the January 6th political prisoners. But a little known fact, 12 Proud Boys and Oath Keepers only received commutations, not full pardons. And that difference matters. Without a full pardon, many of these January 6th defendants, some who happen to be war heroes that fought for this country, cannot access their hard-earned military benefits, their pensions, or their disability payments. The only Proud Boy to receive a full pardon so far is Proud Boys chairman Enrique Tarrio. The other 12 convicted of fraudulent seditious conspiracy charges in the D.C. Kangaroo Court remain in legal limbo. One of them is Proud Boy Joe Biggs, a two-time Purple Heart recipient and a 100% disabled Army veteran. Because of his seditious conspiracy conviction, a charge many legal experts say was wildly overbroad and unconstitutional, Biggs has lost his VA medical insurance, his VA retirement, his monthly disability pay, and even his ability to accompany his 8-year-old daughter on school field trips. Another is Jessica Watkins, an Army veteran who served in Afghanistan in 2002. Her benefits and career have also been stripped away because she lacks a full pardon. The others include Ethan Nordine, Zach Reel, Dominic Pizzola, Stuart Rhodes, Kelly Meggs, Kenneth Harrelson, Robert Minuta, Joe Hackett, David Morshell, and Edward Vallejo. And we can't forget former Metro Police Officer Shane Lamont, another victim of the sinister Biden regime, who is rotting away in federal prison just for allegedly communicating with Enrique Tarrio. So, while Americans are grateful that Gobble and Waddle got pardoned, as well as the rest of the J6ers and election integrity crusaders like Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell, there still are 13 more Americans who many say deserve full justice. 12 Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, and veterans who need their full pardons. And one Metro police officer who was imprisoned out of spite by the most evil American presidential regime in history. 13 more presidential pardons for complete January 6th justice. Happy Thanksgiving. Reporting from the White House for Lindell TV, I'm Kara Castronova. President Trump.
Well done. I couldn't agree more. Especially Stuart Rhodes, whom I know personally. And we have this. And it looks like Schwarzenegger giving out turkeys to families. How nice. And what is Stephen Miller thankful for this Thanksgiving?
Let me ask you what I'm thankful for this Thanksgiving. I praise God every day that Donald Trump is our president. And we've gone from 30% inflation, 20 million illegals, unlimited refugees, violent crime in our cities, to security in our cities, no more illegals, no more refugees, and finally a country that puts American citizens first.
Amen.
So let me ask you what I'm thankful for.
Amen, brother. And we have this, 48 hours ago, Southcom has begun canceling Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays for personnel directly or indirectly involved with the command. Heightened movement also noted in the Caribbean. U.S. officials told Fox News the Caribbean military buildup goes beyond targeting Maduro or Venezuela, and it's about getting Russia, China, Iran out of the Western Hemisphere.
Raising Cane. Should President Trump order strikes against the Maduro regime, there's plenty of firepower in the Caribbean to do it, with about 30% of all deployed American warships, including the aircraft carrier Gerald R. Ford, now on station. There are over 200 Tomahawk cruise missiles in theater aboard destroyers and U.S. Marines aboard the USS Iwo Jima and other amphibs in the Ready Group. Now, ahead of Thanksgiving, the U.S. military's top officer, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Raising Cane, arrived in Puerto Rico yesterday to meet the forces who are part of Operation Southern Spear. So with General Cane in the region, we'll have to see if Secretary Hegseth follows suit ahead of Thanksgiving. And one thing officials have said is some of this buildup in the Caribbean goes beyond the Maduro regime. It's about getting Russia, China, and Iran out of the Western Hemisphere, guys.
And that certainly would send a shiver down their spine with that kind of military buildup. And a record 82 million people are traveling
of Americans. Transportation Secretary Duffy will hold a briefing alongside FAA administrators on the state of air travel as a record number of Americans get ready to travel for Thanksgiving this week.
Fox Business host Cheryl Casoni is here with more. What can we expect, Cheryl?
Well, it's going to be busy. You can expect that. And I've got some new details from the Transportation Department on that presser. I'll get to that in a second. But the shutdown, look, it's over. The rush begins. The expectation, we're going to see 1.6 million more Americans traveling this year. That's going to be a new record. Here's AAA's forecast. 73.28 million by car, more than 6 million flying, almost 2.5 using other means like trains or buses, 1.8 million people at least going to travel 50 miles, maybe further, from home Tuesday, November 25th through next Monday. If you're going to go by car, though, best and worst times to drive. Tuesday, try to go before noon. Wednesday, before 11. Thursday, you're good. You can just do whatever you want. Friday, try to leave before 11. Saturday, before 10 a.m. Look, it's been a frustrating year for travelers between the air traffic control shortage and then you've got that 43-day shutdown, which led to thousands of delays, cancellations. Now, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says it is time to upgrade TSA equipment. Watch.
We will be putting over $1 billion into new scanning equipment, new X-ray equipment, AIT equipment, resources for all of you that you will be able to do your jobs well, accurately, efficiently, make them easier and allow you more time to enjoy not just your positions at work while you're serving, but to do so with the confidence knowing that we are keeping our passengers safe.
So here's the reality. Thanksgiving 2025 is a win, record travel, lower food costs, a president keeping traditions alive, and an administration that is not slowing down. While the media tries to scare you with blackout headlines, American families will carve their turkeys and say their prayers and enjoy a holiday that actually feels like a holiday again. So the story matters because it proves what we've been saying all along. When you get the government out of the way and let Americans do what they do best, things get better. Food prices dropping, travel is booming, families gathering in record numbers. That's not spin, that is reality. While the left keeps telling you the sky is falling, your grocery bills tell a different story. Thanksgiving 2025 is a reminder that this country still works when leadership works. President Trump pardoned the turkeys, thanked the troops, headed to Florida, knowing the nation is in better shape than the critics want to admit. 82 million people traveling is not a sign of decline, it's a sign of confidence. The question I want you to answer in the comments is this. Are you paying less for groceries this year than last? Yes or no? Check out the Next News merch shop. It's linked in the description where you can spend some of that extra money. All right. Moving right along. And speaking of money, there are no super chats in the kitty to acknowledge. Guys, I'm going to be gone for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so 4 days. If you want something done, you got to do it now. We got to get into this next topic first. Where is it? Where is it? Ah, here it is. What do you know? Okay. All right. Brian, reset, and let's get to the next topic. You know him from those late-night infomercials, the fast-talking pitchman who sold millions of towels and made the slap chop a household name. Now, Vince Shlomi, the ShamWow guy, just filed to run for Congress as a Republican in Texas. Of course, the media is laughing, but remember they laughed at another infomercial king who stepped into politics. Remember Mike Lindell? He became one of the most influential conservative voices in the country. Is Shlomi next? Well, here's why it matters, because Shlomi's not running some random district. He's challenging an 84-year-old Republican incumbent, John Carter, in Texas' 31 congressional district. Now, Carter has held that seat since 2003. That's over 2 decades. And Shlomi's coming in hot, telling Fox News his mission is to destroy wokeism in Congress. Now, look, the mainstream media is treating it as a punchline. TMZ ran it. New York Post ran it. Everyone's sharing old slap chop clips. But here's what they're missing. Mike Lindell went from selling pillows to becoming a powerhouse in conservative media. He built Lindell TV. He funded election integrity efforts. He became a trusted voice for millions. And Lindell proved that infomercial fame can translate into real political influence. Shlomi's betting he can do the same, but in elected office. And speaking of outsiders who refuse to play by the rules, that's exactly what we do here at the Next News Network. We don't answer to corporate sponsors or mainstream gatekeepers. We answer to you. And this time of year, we stop and reflect on how grateful we are for this community. None of this is possible without your encouragement, your comments, your prayers, and your support. And if you'd like to help us keep fighting and keep telling the truth the only way the independent media can, we'd appreciate deeply your support at nnn.is/give. It's linked below. And if you can't donate, you can still help in a huge way. Just share the link to this video with a friend or a family member. Text it to someone, because those shares make a massive difference for us. And we hope you have a blessed Thanksgiving. So here's the thing the establishment doesn't want to admit. The last decade proved that TV stars can win, entrepreneurs can win, outsiders can win. Lindell showed that a man who sold pillows on cable could command the attention of millions and shape national conversations. Shlomi is walking into that same lane, famous, self-made, unapologetically loud, and completely untethered from the Beltway. In a low turnout primary, name recognition is everything, and Vince Shlomi has more name recognition than most politicians will ever dream of. His supporters are not saying he's the perfect candidate. They're saying we've elected worse. Now, here is what we have. This just in. The ShamWow guy running for Congress.
Steps away. As Congresswoman Green steps away, we're learning of someone else throwing their hat into the ring for a congressional seat in Texas. And it's a name, or at least a face, you'll probably recognize.
Making you cry, making me cry. Life's hard enough as it is. You don't want to cry anymore. The skin's at the bottom. Hey, look, so you want a little bit of onions? You don't want to drag out the food processor? The skin comes right off. We're going to make America skinny again, one slap at a time.
We're going to do this in real time. Look at this. Put on the spill, turn it over without even putting any pressure. 50% of the cola right there. You follow me, camera guy?
Yep, from soaking up cola to a campaign pitch of soaking up the swamp. Offer Vince Shlomi, who you probably know as the ShamWow guy, has actually filed for a run for Congress in Texas. It's so unbelievable, it's hard to get the words out. He's trying to unseat Congressman John Carter. Shlomi went viral for these commercials, but he had several high-profile controversies, including an arrest for an alleged fight with a sex worker and allegations of harassment. He stepped out of the limelight recently to reportedly work on his image. As Congresswoman Green steps away, we're learning.
Stepped out of the limelight to work on his image. News Channel 5. According to state election records, Vince Shlomi, the entrepreneur, widely known to television viewers as high-energy ShamWow guy, has filed a run for the House of U.S. Representatives. Can you imagine this guy in Congress? Dude, that's going to be a trip. That is going to be a trip. And I think, he could bring that ShamWow right to the halls of Congress and mop up all that slop in D.C. I think that ShamWow could probably soak up all of the swamp itself. That thing is powerful, remember? ShamWow guy, Vince Shlomi, files for Texas Congress. Vince Shlomi, ABC News even covering it. Running for Congress as a Republican in Texas.
Man filing. The ShamWow guy, Vince Shlomi, is running for Congress and is looking to wipe the floor with the competition. The once prominent infomercial pitchman filing as a Republican to represent Texas's 31st congressional district, a seat held by Republican Representative John Carter, who's already announced he will be seeking re-election. The former pitchman told Fox News he wants to destroy wokeism in Congress and that he's been motivated by the political infighting in the country to run and make America happy. The ShamWow guy, Vince Shlomi.
Make America happy. What is this? Is this actually one of the clips? No, it's another news clip. Oh, here we go, man. Everyone's talking about it.
Campaign trail. He's 61. The former.
Hi, it's Vince with ShamWow. You'll be saying wow every time you use this towel.
Vince, the ShamWow guy, whose official name is Offer Vince Shlomi, is trading in his little headset microphone thing and hitting the campaign trail. He's 61. The former TV pitchman joining a Republican field of at least 12 candidates ahead of the March primary. Vince telling Fox News Digital his decision to run for office was fueled by a desire to, quote, destroy wokeism and make America happy. But his desire to spread joy should come as no surprise to anybody.
You're going to love my nuts. Watch this. Hey, it's Vince with ShamWow.
Okay. He's got a crowded field of 12 going up against him. But, I mean, this media coverage he's getting right now is priceless. All other 11 of those candidates would die for this type of coverage. This is free media. It's just because of his past infomercials. Takes a cleanup act to Washington, D.C. to destroy wokeism. What does Grok have to say? That's Vince Offer Shlomi, the infomercial star known for pitching ShamWow towels in the slap chop. 61-year-old entrepreneur now running as a Republican for Texas 31st, claiming aiming to challenge incumbent John Carter in the primary. His platform includes fighting wokeism, reducing political infighting. Oh, really? We got the original ShamWow commercial. No way. This is going to be funny.
The towel, look at that. Hi, it's Vince with ShamWow. You'll be saying wow every time you use this towel. It's like a chamois, it's like a towel, it's like a sponge. A regular towel doesn't work wet. This works wet or dry. This is for the house, the car, the boat, the RV. ShamWow holds 20 times its...
and the swamp.
...weight in liquid. Look at this. It just does the work. Why do you want to work twice as hard? Doesn't drip. Doesn't make a mess. Wring it out. You wash it in the washing machine. Made in Germany. You know the Germans always make good stuff. You can cut it in half. Use one as a bath mat. Drain your dishes with the other one. Use one as a towel. Olympic divers, they use it as a towel. Look at that. Completely dry. Put a wet sweater. Roll it up. It dries your sweaters. Here's some cola. Wine, coffee, cola, pet stains. Not only is the damage going to be on top, there's your mildew. That is going to smell. See that? The most of... Now we're going to do this in real time. Look at this. Put on the spill, turn it over without even putting any pressure. 50% of the cola right there. You follow me, camera guy? The other 50%, the color starts to come up. No other towel is going to do that. It acts like a vacuum. And look at this, virtually dry on the bottom. See what I'm telling you? ShamWow, you'll be saying wow every time.
I can't live without it. I just love it.
Oh my gosh, I don't even buy paper towels anymore.
If you're going to wash your cars or any kind of vehicle, you'd be out of your mind not to own one of these.
I need to get a ShamWow now.
Wow. You're going to spend $20 every month on paper towels anyway. You're throwing your money away. The mini ShamWows are for everything, for everyday use. This lasts 10 years. This lasts a week. I don't know. It sells itself. The ShamWow sells for $19.95, but you get one for the house, one for the car, two for the kitchen and bathroom. But if you call now, within the next 20 minutes, because we can't do this all day, we'll give you a second set absolutely free. So that's 8 ShamWows for $19.95. Comes with a 10-year warranty. Here's how to order.
Here's how to order. Okay, I'm gonna like look it up right now and see if they actually sell these things still. ShamWow for sale. 2-pack ShamWows, $19.87 on eBay. ShamWow towel on Amazon. Huge stock inventory. Let's see. Is it really? Are they really on? Premium chamois. Here it is, the ShamWow original absorbent multi-purpose cleaning chamois. Yep, Brian just confirmed the website is still up. So yeah, you can still get it. And the price, are you kidding me? The price is still the same? $19.79. It's cheaper. Cheaper than it was. Haha. Donald Trump's making ShamWow great again. What do you know? Dude, that's just too funny. What else have we got here? And of course, yes, you have this TMZ. They posted this not so flattering image of him. I do remember him getting arrested, and he looked pretty beat up in that mugshot of his. And everyone's like, oh, the fall of the ShamWow guy. Well, he has now risen from the ashes to run for Congress. So here's the bottom line. You see, Washington laughed at Mike Lindell too. Now he has his own network. He's got millions of followers. Okay? They're laughing at Vince Shlomi the same way, but while pundits giggle about towels and infomercials, Shlomi is doing what every successful outsider does. Slipping under the radar, grabbing attention money can't buy. and betting that the voters are ready for something different. So the story matters because the playbook's been written. Mike Lindell proved that an infomercial pitch man can become a political force. He went from MyPillow commercials to building a media empire and standing alongside President Trump. Now Vince Shlomi wants to take it a step further and actually hold office. Whether he wins or loses, his candidacy is a sign the old gatekeepers are losing their grip and voters are fed up with career politicians. They're fed up with 84-year-olds who have been in office longer than some of their constituents have been alive. And they're open to somebody who comes from the outside. Shlomi built a brand on being loud and direct, impossible to ignore. And that's not a bad skill set for politics. So the question I want you to answer in the comments is this. Would you vote for the ShamWow guy over a career politician? Yes or no? And you can hit up our merch shop. It's linked in the description. We don't have ShamWow, but we got some other stuff too. All right. Let's see. We got a couple super chats, it looks like, to acknowledge Morgan Edwards earlier dropping $20. That was 9 minutes ago. Thank you, Morgan. And FNA Ranger, did I do it right? $2. Release the Kraken with a side order of Rudy. And Dank Indicus dropping $10. I'm not happy with these childish games they play with our lives. Nobody is, my friend. Nobody is. Thank you for your support, guys. We're at $87. We're only, $13 away from hitting our goal before Thanksgiving. Oh, man. Let's hit that goal tonight, guys. We have nice things to celebrate and be super thankful for, as we are thankful for all of you guys in all of our viewers who watch every single night. Okay. We got some shocking, wild news for you now. Something off the beaten path. But just crazy stuff, man. I saw this headline the other day. I'm like, we got to cover this. A 65-year-old woman in Thailand was minutes away from being cremated. The monks were ready. The ceremony was prepared. And then someone heard knocking coming from inside the coffin. They opened the lid. Her eyes were open. She was breathing. She was alive. Now, it's not a horror movie. It happened this week, and it's raising a terrifying question. How does a living person end up on the edge of being burned alive? So think about what almost happened here. This woman was declared dead. Her family grieved. Her brother drove her body to a temple near Bangkok for cremation. The funeral rites began, and then he heard it, a faint rhythmic knocking from inside the wooden casket. Temple staff opened the coffin and found her moving, eyes open, very much alive. They rushed her to a hospital where she's now recovering, but here is the unsettling part. It's not the first time this has happened. In Nebraska last year, a hospice patient declared dead was found breathing by a funeral home worker. In Iowa, a care facility was fined after a woman with Alzheimer's woke up inside a sealed body bag. The system that's supposed to verify death keeps getting caught flat-footed, and the consequences are almost too horrific to imagine. So the story is a reminder that life is precious and every moment counts. Speaking of making the most of life, let me tell you about C60 Evo. I take it daily, and their holiday gift sets are 40% off right now when you grab 6 bundles. Each bundle includes their advanced facial serum. It's like using a bottle, plus their breakthrough C60 Evo olive oil. Now, that oil is known for helping with energy, mental clarity, faster recovery, and supporting your body against inflammation and oxidative stress, the things that make us feel older than we are. People even give some to their pets for mobility support. So keep a couple sets for yourself, gift the rest to the family. This offer is exclusive to our audience only. So go to the link in the description, c60evo.com/NN for 40% off before they are gone. So here's what saved this woman's life. One brother who trusted his ears, one monk who noticed movement, and staff who believed what they saw instead of the paperwork, what it said. Now, had one of those pieces failed, she would have been cremated alive, and Thai health authorities are now investigating how the misdiagnosis happened and whether protocols were followed, but the bigger question is global. Medical facilities are overworked, funeral timelines are rushed, and the definition of death is sometimes taken for granted. So When verification fails, the consequences are irreversible. So, and this woman got lucky, but how many others didn't? Here is the news that as it broke, listen to this.
A woman in Thailand shocked family and temple staff when she started moving in her coffin. The woman had been bedridden for about 2 years and appeared to stop breathing 2 days ago. But when she was brought to the temple for cremation, they heard a faint knock coming from that coffin and found her alive.
How crazy is that, right? And check this out. Woman in NE, is it Nebraska, who was declared deceased, found alive at a funeral home after an employee who was getting her ready for her services noticed she was still breathing. My God.
Funeral. Now they were. Do y'all want some local news? Midwest drama. The Nebraska woman that was found alive at a funeral home has passed away. Did you catch that? So here's what had happened. There was a lady, she lives in Nebraska in Lancaster County, and she was on hospice. She was on hospice and she was at the Mulberry Nursing Home in Waverly, Nebraska, and at 9:45 a.m. they declared her deceased. It was very sad. And then they called, the funeral home, and they're like, she passed away, called the family, did all the stuff. Funeral home comes, they load her up, they take her to the funeral home to get her prepared for her funeral. While they were preparing her for the funeral arrangements, an employee noticed that the woman was still breathing. She was alive. I don't know what preparing her for the funeral, were they getting ready to embalm her? I would assume so. I don't really know what the steps are. They get her to the funeral home, did they put her in a freezer for a little bit first? I mean, she didn't sit up and be like, what's up, bitch? Nothing like that. They just discovered that she was still breathing. The funeral home then called law enforcement, and they've been cooperating with them ever since. Enforcement did come out and they made a whole statement on the ordeal, and they stated that the funeral home didn't do anything wrong. She did end up passing away later that day at 4 p.m. Officially. She's gone. Do you imagine the shock of that poor funeral director, though? I wonder how many times he's actually seen that. Did you know that way back in the day, they used to put bells on graves with a string that went all the way down to the coffin, just in case the person somehow woke up and was alive and rung the bell, and then the funeral or the graveyard keepers would come and they would dig them up. Did you know that they used to do that? They used to do that before embalming became a thing. Did you also know that they used to hold funerals the day that the person died, or maybe the day right after, and those funerals were usually held in the person's home? And there was really no way to preserve the body in any way, and so they just tried to do them as quickly as possible, and then they put the bells in because apparently they had buried alive people a few times before. Shout out to Lancaster County in Nebraska. Do y'all want some local news? Midwest drama.
If I recall, the reason it's called a wake, before the funeral, is in case the person is still alive. And like an Irish wake, they have a big party and it's loud and it's crazy. It's literally so they can try to wake the dead so that they are not buried alive. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but that's what I recall. Here's some more news. This is from February of 2023. An article from the Daily Caller. Care facility facing fines after a woman they pronounced dead woke up in a body bag at a funeral home. What the heck? Care facility facing fines after a woman they pronounced dead woke up in a body bag. Iowa nursing facility could face fines totaling $10,000. Let's see if this headline is still even active. Verifying. Okay. Here it is. Care facility facing fines. Are you kidding me? Okay. Thank you for that. An Iowa nursing facility could face fines totaling $10,000 after a woman they reportedly pronounced dead was transferred to a funeral home and woke up in a body bag. The unnamed patient was in hospice care at Glen Oaks Alzheimer's Special Care Center when on January 3rd, after days of diminished breathing and minor seizures, an employee found she could not find a pulse on the patient. According to CBS News, the 66-year-old resident was pronounced dead by a licensed practical nurse at 6 a.m., transferred to a funeral home in a body bag by 7:30 a.m. after the family was notified The outlet stated, citing a report from the Iowa Department of Inspections. An hour later, employees at Ankeny Funeral Home and Crematory unzipped the body bag to find the woman's chest moving and noted that she gasped for air. Emergency officials were called to the funeral home. While they were able to detect a pulse, they noted the patient was not responsive. She was then taken back to the care facility where she died, surrounded by her family 2 days later. God, the horror. Can you imagine that? That's just crazy. What else? Okay, so this is the Al Arabia English. Thai woman found alive after she was moving in her coffin.
This 65
เรื่องคุณยายแต่ตอนนี้ที่เห็นคุณยายยังไม่เสียชีวิตนะครับ
A strange story reminiscent of movies. This 65-year-old Thai woman was believed to be dead and was placed inside her coffin. But the shock came when she suddenly moved inside it, just moments before her body was to be cremated.
ถึงที่จังหวัดพิษณุโลกแล้วก็พอมาถึงวัดของเราก็จะทำพิธีให้คุณยายแต่ผลสุดท้ายเปิดหีบมาคุณยายยังไม่เสียครับ
The incident stunned those present, especially after they heard a knock from inside the coffin, drawing attention to the fact that she was still alive. Her family said she had been bedridden for 2 years. Her health deteriorated, and she lost consciousness until she stopped breathing, leading them to believe she had passed away.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I guess we got a lot to be thankful for these days, don't we? It's all over the news. A Buddhist temple in Thailand got quite the shock when they discovered a woman brought in for cremation was still alive. Another one. Woman found alive in coffin. Woman wakes up moments before cremation. Thai woman found alive in coffin. I mean, it's all over the place. This is crazy. Like, this is like this woman found alive in coffin moments before planned cremation. Presumed dead. Stuns the staff at the Bangkok area temple. According to the temple, woman's brother was driving her to Bangkok to be cremated when he heard a faint knock coming from inside the coffin. Wow. It's all over the place. I mean, it's just terrifying. My goodness. So here is the image you can't shake. A woman lying in a coffin, cremation chamber waiting, and the only thing standing between her and death by fire was a knock that someone happened to hear. Now, she's alive because the system failed slowly enough for someone to catch the mistake. It's not reassurance, that's a warning. The story matters because it forces us to confront something we do not want to think about. What if the doctors are wrong? What if the paperwork is wrong? What if someone you love is declared dead but is not? It sounds like a nightmare, but for this 65-year-old woman in Thailand, it was real. She was minutes away from being cremated alive. The only reason she was breathing tonight because her brother heard knocking and the monks trusted their eyes. Now, it's not a system working. This is luck. Luck's not a protocol. The case is under investigation. Hospitals reviewing procedures, but the haunting question remains, if someone can wake up in their coffin, how many others never got the chance to knock? The question for the comments is this. Should there be mandatory waiting periods before cremation? Yes or no? Check the merch shop in the description because our merch isn't going anywhere. And just like that, Daisy Atnip dropping $15, putting us over the top. Daisy, thank you so much. We're at $102 today. And we have a new member as well. So what a show, what a day, and what a moment for this country. We started tonight with tragedy. 2 members of the West Virginia National Guard were shot just blocks from the White House. They were not in a war zone. They were not overseas. They were standing post in Washington, D.C., doing exactly what they were trained to do, protecting the Capitol. And somebody gunned them down, the suspect in custody, with ties allegedly to Afghanistan. Good, now put him in prison for life. It's time to start making examples of those who attack the brave men and women in our country, our military. Governor Morrisey says there are conflicting reports about their conditions, and we're praying for all the soldiers and their families tonight. Then we cover the Seditious Six saga as it escalates into new territory. The Pentagon gave the Navy until December 10th to deliver findings on Senator Mark Kelly. The FBI is scheduling interviews with all 6 lawmakers. Kelly posted his medals and said he wouldn't be silenced, and Hegseth fired back, mocking his uniform. Democrats are telling investigators no. Legal experts are warning the whole case could collapse under constitutional guardrails, but while the drama plays out, the Georgia case against Trump was dismissed in its entirety. The Fani Willis witch hunt is officially over, and this story is far from finished. We brought you the good news about Thanksgiving 2025. The cost of feeding your family has dropped to the lowest point in 2 years. 82 million Americans are traveling. President Trump pardoning the turkeys, heading down to Florida, and then despite the doom and gloom headlines about economic blackouts, Americans are thriving. So don't let the media tell you otherwise. Your grocery bills tell the real story. Then we introduce you to the ShamWow guy, or I should say reintroduce you. He's running for Congress. Vince Shlomi filed to challenge an 84-year-old incumbent in Texas. The media laughing, but remember, they laughed at Mike Lindell too. He became one of the most influential conservative voices in the country. Outsiders can win. And in a low-turnout primary, name recognition is everything. And finally, we told you about a woman in Thailand who knocked on her own coffin minutes before cremation. She was declared dead, but she wasn't. The only reason she's alive is because somebody heard the knocking. It's a story that will haunt you, and it should. So that is the raw feed for November 26, 2025. On the eve of Thanksgiving, if you got value from this show, please tell your friends. Share the stream. Text the link to someone who needs to hear the truth. And if you want to support what we do, hit the merch shop in the description. So I want to thank everybody who sent in Super Chats and Rumble Rants tonight. We see every single one of you. We appreciate every single one. You guys keep the show running. You keep the community alive, and we could not do it without you. So from all of us here at the Next News Network, happy Thanksgiving. Hug your family. Say a prayer for those 2 soldiers fighting tonight. And we'll see you all on the next show.